clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Subway Sports Talk. My name is Peter Kennedy. I am your host. Thank you so much for listening, as always, on your Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or on YouTube. Coming up later in the episode, I have a bit of a chaos theory to throw at you about the New York Mets. It's something that I believe that they should try and could make this offense pop just a little bit more. If you want to get on that conversation or the conversation we're about to have about the New York Knicks, you can do so by hitting us up on socials at Subway Sports Talk or get in the comments right here on YouTube. But on those New York Knicks, yes, we are excited that there is a playoff series tipping off at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night at 6 o'clock. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. I don't have the woe is me attitude that so many Knicks fans have had over the last few months. But at the same time, I know that I have a very rational attitude attached to my excitement coming up for Saturday night. There's a lot of Knicks fans out there talking about how this Knicks team should dominate the Detroit Pistons. That all this talk about the Detroit Pistons being a problem for the New York Knicks is overblown. Well, I'm going to sit here and tell you this. If you think this is a walk in the park playoff series, you're wrong. If you think the New York Knicks are going to roll into Madison Square Garden and dominate the Pistons and win this series in 4 games or 5 games, you're wrong. This series will be an absolute war, a battle every single night. I can't picture this Knicks team the way they're currently playing, and yes, they're getting healthier, rolling through a team like Detroit with the toughness they have, with the depth that they have, and most importantly, with the superstar that they have at the helm in Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham has become a bona fide superstar. A lot of people in the New York market, they don't get to watch too much Cade Cunningham. If you're not an NBA League Pass freak like myself, you probably haven't been too tapped into Cade and what he's doing. You might see the statistics, you might see some clips on social media, but I want to let you guys know that this Detroit Pistons team that the New York Knicks are about to face is a little bit too reminiscent for what I think Knicks fans want to see come this Saturday night. Because this Pistons team makeup reminds me a lot of the New York Knicks teams that we fell in love with over the last 2 years. Because let's break that thing down. First and foremost, you got a star at the helm. Cade Cunningham is that dude. I predicted on WFAN this past Saturday night with Al Cintron that Cade Cunningham is going to average 33 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. And you might say, Pete, that's ridiculous. Those stats are dumb. Well, let me tell you something. Over the course of this season against the New York Knicks, Cade Cunningham already is at a different mark from his standard points average. We got 31 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds on 56% field goal shooting and 50% from 3 for Cade Cunningham against the New York Knicks in 2024-2025. That's the bar. He's going to clear it. He is an offensive engine all by himself. And what does he have around him that also reminds me of this former New York Knicks team that we fell in love? First off, we got shooters. We got people who can let it fly from 3, reminiscent of Dante DiVincenzo, reminiscent of Deuce McBride getting hot in the playoffs. When you see a Malik Beasley, who's been one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA this season, you're going to have to go out and close out and attack the hell out of him. This dude took 9 threes a game, off the bench, 41%, averaging 16 points. Now, Tim Hardaway Jr., we know him well here in New York. Probably don't remember him as fondly as he's had other stops in his career. But guess what? This guy's going to let it rip. He's going to let it fly, and he's going to make you pay every once in a while. You got another guy, Tobias Harris. We've seen him in the playoffs before. We've also seen him disappear in the playoffs before. Guess what he's doing? Still shooting 35% from 3. Always a threat to make an open jump shot. This team added Dennis Schroeder. Not just a pest on defense, not just a guy who can get downhill, who can create for others, but another guy who can shoot the 3 and get hot in a playoff series. And those are just the shooters, right? Because what else reminds me of this New York Knicks team that we fell in love with in the past, currently in Detroit? Take a look at Ausar Thompson. He doesn't get as much love as his twin brother, Amen Thompson, over in Houston. But guess what? They play a very similar style of ball, and they're extremely damn effective. Ausar Thompson, reminiscent of a Josh Hart, who we fell in love with 2 years ago. An absolute savage on defense, crashing the boards like a guard, like you definitely should not. And a guy who's going to get downhill, get in fast break, be a pest on defense, and be a burden on offense. And then they got two bigs who are tough as nails, who want to fight, who want to scrap, who want to rebound, who want to run to the rim and finish a dunk in your face. Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. These two guys are tough. They don't want to be pushed around because they won't be pushed around. That's reminiscent of a Mitchell Robinson, reminiscent of an Isaiah Hartenstein. Good defenders, scrappy players, and not as cerebral offensively as Isaiah Hartenstein was last year, obviously. But the point stands. This Detroit Pistons team is the same build that the New York Knicks have had over the last 2 seasons. A superstar at the helm, Cade Cunningham to Jalen Brunson, surrounded by good shooters and secondary playmakers, surrounded by big men who can protect the rim and rim run on offense and finish strong. If you think this is going to be a walk in the park, you're mistaken. This Knicks team has been up and down all season. This Knicks team has made us feel all different types of ways throughout this season. From a slow start and discomfort with what the future was going to look like for the New York Knicks, to absolutely surging, looking like they are the cream of the crop, ready to compete with Boston and Cleveland. Back down after falling over and over and over again to the top tier talent. For Knicks fans to then take a step back again and say, you know what, this team actually doesn't have it. And now entering a playoff series against a Detroit Pistons team who's been really, really good for half the season. Knicks fans are going to come out here and say this is going to be a cakewalk. We're going to roll them. They're going to run up and down the floor and win this in 4 or 5. No way. This team is really good and really tough. Now, the New York Knicks obviously have answers, right? The New York Knicks probably win the argument in all of the position battles, right? If you take Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham head-to-head as the point guard engines of these offenses, you're going to still lean to Jalen Brunson and take him over Cade. It's a lot closer than you want to believe it. And after this series, there's going to be a conversation, even if the Knicks come out victorious, because of what Cade Cunningham will do. But you still take Jalen Brunson. If you take Josh Hart versus Ausar Thompson, you're still taking Josh Hart. But Ausar Thompson's on the rise. You look at the Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley wing pairing that they got with Simone Fontenecchio in the mix as well. Then you look at Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Obviously, you're going with the Knicks group there as well. Then you look at Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson versus Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. Yes, you're taking the Knicks guys as well. It's pretty simple. Even with Dennis Schroeder, who's a great backup point guard, you might still lean on Deuce McBride a little bit more because of the defense, because they're similar offensive output level players. So yeah, the Knicks check all the boxes. But if you think that the Knicks, who were in these situations in the past, could have and should have won series that they either did or just came up short on in the past, then you should think that the Detroit Pistons can do the same here. Because right now, we're giving the Detroit Pistons bulletin board material. Every single analyst on ESPN, Knicks in 6, Knicks in 5, Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6, Knicks in 7, Knicks in 6. 10 out of 10 took the New York Knicks. People are underestimating the Detroit Pistons. Now, if you look at the Vegas odds, that aligns well with what the ESPN analysts predicted, what many of you are predicting. The New York Knicks are minus 400 to win this series, putting the Detroit Pistons at plus 310. That's not good value for me. And if I was a psychopath who can bet against my favorite team in the playoffs, I'm taking that value plus 310 for the Detroit Pistons all day. Now, I won't do it because I'm going to be rooting tooth and nail for this New York Knicks team to make the second round. I'm going to be rooting my ass off to see this Knicks team finish the job that they start when they tip off on Saturday night at 6 p.m. in Madison Square Garden. But if this odds says anything to us, does it say more about the actual on-court product we're about to watch in this series, or more about the betting public probably being a lot more interested in betting on the New York Knicks than the Detroit Pistons? Do you watch the Pistons? Have you seen Cade Cunningham play a full game of basketball besides when he played against the New York Knicks? And that's not to be critical. It's an honest question. Because there is the difference. The Knicks were top 5, top 6 in nationally televised games. Obviously, right here in the New York market, we watch them play 82 a year. The Detroit Pistons, what do they get? A handful? A couple? Starting next year, guess what? They're going to be in the upper echelon of nationally televised games. Because that's what's on our hands in Detroit. A superstar. A future top 5 player in this league, Cade Cunningham. So my ultimate prediction for this series is pretty simple. The Knicks will win this series. If they do not win this series, it is a massive disappointment. That we can agree on. But the way in which they're going to win this series is not going to look how you're hoping it to. It is not going to feel how you hope it to feel. Because if you remember the series win against the Philadelphia 76ers last year, yes, they won. Yes, it was exciting. But boy, was it dramatic. Boy, was it uncomfortable. And yes, the Knicks fans took over the Philadelphia 76ers arena, Wells Fargo, whatever it's called out there in Philly, and made it their own. This is going to be a lot closer to that than Knicks fans are ready for. This is going to be a brawl, a battle, a war. And at the end of the day, the New York Knicks will win. I'm saying in 6 games. At Detroit, they're going to finish the job in 6 games. But every single game throughout the 6, in my opinion, will be within 10 points. Every single one. Probably more within 5 points. So yes, you should not underestimate the Detroit Pistons. And you should definitely not underestimate Cade Cunningham. This dude is a superstar in the making. This dude is going to have his playoff coming out party against the New York Knicks. And he will win. He will lead his team to win at least 2 games. At least 2 games. If this goes 7, I'm not shocked. Now, we're going to do a bigger breakdown on this series on TOL and Friends, 8 p.m. on Thursday on Uptown Sports TV on YouTube. Me, Al Centrone, Anthony Gallo. You can check that out on Uptown Sports TV on YouTube. And I'm also going to do something else on Subway Sports Talk before this series kicks off as well. So stay tuned right here. Before we go today, I have one more thought. And I'm admittingly telling you that this is a bit chaotic. I'm admittingly understanding that this is a little bit crazy. But it's something I believe the New York Mets should try out. Because right now, the New York Mets are winning games despite playing not playing their best baseball. They're finding ways to win through pitching, starting and bullpen, through clutch hitting, through scrapping and clawing. And it's definitely not all winning because they're just crushing baseballs left and right. Can we agree on that? Yes, we can. So what do I think the New York Mets should definitely try? I think they should use the Juan Soto effect, TM, to bolster up a very specific hitter that this Mets team is greatly reliant upon. Mark Vientos should bat behind Juan Soto. Even if it's just for one series. Even if it's just an experiment for 1 week. Put Mark Vientos right behind Juan Soto in the 3-hole. And you might say this, Pete, this is insane. He's been terrible this year. He hasn't hit a home run yet. Well, guess what? I'm watching this dude's at-bats, and he's getting pitched like he is the 2-hole or 3-hole hitter. Because what's after him? Jesse Winker, Luis Torrens, Brett Beatty, Luis Angel Acuna. Are we scared of those guys? No. And guess what? They all been playing decent this year, right? We like what we're watching from Luis Acuna. But if you're an opposing pitcher and you get to that part of the lineup there where you see Mark Vientos at 6, what are you doing? You're pitching him like Juan Soto's up. I'm sorry. You're pitching him like he's Juan Soto. Because guess what? I'm not scared of Brett Beatty. I'm not scared of Luis Torrens or Acuna. So Vientos is batting 6 now. You get through Soto and Alonso and Nimmo, and then all of a sudden you get to Vientos. And you go, oh, man, thank gosh. Made it through. All I got to do is get this guy out. I can give him everything I got because I'm not really scared of anybody else. If I walk him, I walk him. And on top of that, he hasn't been walking that much anyway, Mark Vientos. He's got 9 on the year. Not bad. Put Mark Vientos in the 3-hole, right behind Juan Soto, and watch what happens. Everyone's praising what happens to Pete Alonso right now. Everyone's praising what Juan Soto has meant, not through his own statistics, but through the effect he's had so far on Lindor batting in front of him and Pete Alonso batting right behind him. Use that spot to your advantage. Put someone who needs a boost, someone who needs a fastball down the pipe, someone who needs to not be pitched around in that spot and bolster him up. Give him the pitches that they need to see to hit this thing off. And then if you think about the sandwich there, and I know people really, really like to see that right, left action. So if you bat Soto 2, he's a lefty, obviously. Vientos, a righty at 3. In theory, you want to put a lefty at 4. I don't care. Keep Pete at 4. That's fine. Now you got the sandwich. Think about this inning. Lindor, maybe he's on base. Then maybe Soto's on base. All of a sudden, you got to face Vientos with 2 guys on and Pete Alonso up next. Guess who you're pitching to? Mark Vientos. Guess who needs a boost? Mark Vientos. Now, I know it's a natural thought when someone is struggling in the lineup to drop them down. And they've done that already with Mark Vientos down to 6. Why not go the other way? Why not push the envelope and take this Juan Soto effect that has been so positive for Pete Alonso and transfer it to somebody else? Because right now, the way Pete is hitting at the plate, his confidence is at an all-time high. You're seeing him get walked, and he's pissed off because he wants to swing. A couple weeks ago, he got hit by a pitch. He was furious. He wanted to swing. He's got the juice right now. He's got the confidence, and he'll still have Brandon Nimmo behind him in the 5 spot. Take advantage of your advantages. And your advantage is no one wants to pitch to Juan Soto. No one does. He just said it himself. He had a quote. Yeah, I don't have the best hitter in the world behind me anymore. I'm getting pitched different. Well, if Pete Alonso continues the way he's doing, he ain't going to get pitched that different for longer. But right now, take advantage of what you know is going to happen. They're going to needle around Juan Soto to get to whoever's after him so they can pitch at that person. Make that person Mark Vientos and give him a chance to burst out of this slump. He's teetering. He's hitting his doubles. He's making his hard contact and getting a bit unlucky. He hasn't put one over the fence just yet. It's about to happen. That switch is about to be flipped. And if you insert him behind Juan Soto, watch the pitches that he's going to see and watch the ball fly. That's all we got. That's my chaos theory for the New York Mets right now. Put Vientos in the 3-hole, sandwich him with Soto and Alonso, and watch what happens. And now I understand it probably won't happen. But the absolute factors that will take place after that, if they try it, I think are incredible. So thank you very much. Subway Sports Talk. We'll be back later this week. We'll also be on TOL and Friends, 8 p.m. on Thursday. My name is Pete Kennedy. As always, you can follow us on socials at Subway Sports Talk. I'm saying Knicks in 6. It's a heart attack waiting to happen, but the Knicks will come out victorious. And New York Mets. Let's slide Vientos in the 3-hole and see what happens. That's all we got. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.